I've talked about it a lot in recent weeks, but one of the craziest parts of Trump's third campaign for the White House is how laser focused he is on policy. He has big plans for 2024 and beyond should he win the presidency, and let's just say there's a lot to be very, very terrified of.
We'll ban urban camping wherever possible. Violators of these bans will be arrested, but they will be given the option to accept treatment and services if they're willing to be rehabilitated. Many of them don't want that, but we'll give them the option. We will then open up large parcels of inexpensive land, bring in doctors, psychiatrists, social workers, and drug rehab specialists, and create 10 cities where the homeless can be relocated and their problems identified. But we'll open up our cities again, make them livable and make them beautiful.
So many people jumped on this recent Trump clip to point out that these large parcels of inexpensive land where human beings will be shipped unwillingly sound a lot like internment camps. And hey, we all know very well that internment camps is something that has a precedence in the United States. It's obvious that this is a nightmare of a solution, and sadly, it isn't one that Trump thought of himself. This idea of rounding up the homeless and sending them to unoccupied territory in the middle of the US is one that anyone who works or has volunteered with the local unhoused populations has heard of. From your far-right neighbor down the street to local politicians with a platform, Trump is merely bringing this nefarious solution to the mainstream. And even if he doesn't win, floating this idea on such a grand scale will influence more and more people to think like this and believe that this internment is the only solution to our housing crisis. I can hear it now as the crisis gets worse due to a shortage of affordable housing, stagnant wages, and mental health crises. The call for shipping people off to the desert will get louder. But the strangest part of Trump's plan is that it sounds an awful lot like another policy he touted last month aimed at non-homeless Americans. Take a listen.
We should hold a contest to charter up to 10 new cities and award them to the best proposals for development. In other words, we'll actually build new cities in our country again. These freedom cities will reopen the frontier, reignite American imagination, and give hundreds of thousands of young people and other people, all hardworking families, a new shot at home ownership.
Yes, while Trump may be focused on policy, none of those policies are enticing, as evidenced by how much he is emphasizing moving Americans to uninhabited areas of the country. It's like equal opportunity internment, which is super messed up and also not something I ever thought a man seriously hoping to win millions of votes would come up with. But it's easy to brush off these Trump proposals as the stupid ramblings of a ridiculous man flying solo. But make no mistake, these are the proposals that will be enticing to certain people, which is why we need to be able to understand them fully, talk about them, and fight back against them. If you want to see more of my coverage on The Breakdown, stay right here. You can watch my latest video on a MAGA Karen throwing a tantrum over Bud Light's betrayal by clicking on the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.